on our May webinar here in just a couple minutes, but we will wait for a few more people to join, and then we will kick this off. All right, we are going to get started. Thank you for joining us for the AGCO Direct May webinar. This one is going to be on content that sells. Your dealer safari starts here. So I am Emily Barvels. I am the customer success lead for the AGCO Direct team. Been working on this team for 5 years now and excited to work alongside Maggie today.
And I'm Maggie Furlong. I'm a producer with our studio team, and I've been with the studio team producing for the last couple of years, but I came from the background of doing graphic design for a lot of what we're talking about today. So it's exciting to kind of be working in a couple different avenues of the same thing, and I love talking about this. So looking forward to today.
All right, so on the agenda for today, these are the things that we're going to cover: the opportunity for your dealership, what a content safari is, what you get and how it works, your commitment and investment, and next steps. So your customers buy from dealers that they trust. I think we all pretty much know that, but farmers trust local proof, real equipment, real fields, real neighbors. Stock photography and corporate videos don't move the needle like local content does. And most dealers don't have the time, the budget, the gear, or the time to produce it themselves. So all of these things are just kind of setbacks to what we need to do and gather content in a content safari. So trusting that local proof, we want the real people in the seats of the equipment that you're selling, people that are actually purchasing that equipment. Real salesmen at your dealerships who are selling parts or selling the equipment. And then those real fields, real neighbors, real people in your area to help sell that equipment. Because that stock photography and corporate videos, they look really nice, but they just don't move that needle like a friendly face that somebody might know in your area. So what we are hoping to do is show you how we can help get that content, work with you to get that content, and not have to have you spend the full budget, have all the gear or the time to produce the videos and creatives that we need. So our content safaris solve all three of those. What we say is you bring the crew, we bring the crew and you bring the farm.
So I can get into a little bit about what a content safari is, what it means to our team, and what it can mean to you in the end. So, like Emily was saying, a content safari is a local on-location content shoot that's really built and centered around your community, your area, and the needs that you and your customers have. So that, like Emily said, when someone is scrolling and we're looking through photos and videos, people are more likely to stop when they see a familiar face or a familiar area to them, and it really helps to make it more tailored to you specifically to help drive your goals and the different needs that you have and the needs that your customers have. No one knows better than you do what your customers want to see, which is why with a content safari, we rely heavily on you and your team to make the best decisions that you're able to as far as who this should be centered around, what your goals are, and the products that you want to feature. So our photo video team would come to you and capture. We've got a couple of bullet points here showing the different footage that we would grab. So depending on the package, it can be footage at the dealership, the different products that are important, sometimes seasonally. I know, we want to focus on different attachments or different particular pieces of equipment. And I think Emily will get into that a little bit later on too. Featuring specific customers or employees, doing some walk around footage is always a good way to use a little bit of time if you want to showcase specific features and benefits of certain machines. It's great for training. And then, like I said, this is a little bit more of a quick turn than a traditional photo shoot. So rather than with a traditional photo shoot where we work out a bunch of creative and we come with a super built out shot list, it's more fluid and it's more built for what you need and how we can make the most of the day that we have with you. So we come, we're traveling light, we're prepared to hit the ground running and get as much content as we can for as prepared as you are for the day or 2 days that we're spending with you. And everything that we're talking through today is kind of like the baseline level. It's an example of what we can do, but each of the packages or, the different detail that we need to go into really depends on your goals and what you need. And we're very willing and excited to get into it with you and figure out exactly what the day needs to look like for you.
So why it works for your dealership. I think we talked a little bit about this, that local credibility instantly. So real machinery from your real customer in your territory allows prospects to see themselves in that content. If they know the farmer next door sells the same machinery, or they see them in ads on your page, or you're tagging them, it's really showing that, you're showing your real customers. It's ready to post content. So the photo selects, we go through and we pick the best images that they have shot that day. Make sure we have photo selects for you to use, social images, so different sizes of images for you, short form videos that you can use on social media, you can use to sell. So your salesman could have access to them too, to kind of show the machinery in its working state instead of just a stagnant image. And then content ready to drop into all of your channels. So it should be polished and ready to go when you get it from us. And then you can go ahead and post all of that content. It also has a co-branded reach. So AGCO as a corporation and the brands, Massey and Fendt, depending on what we're there to shoot, Gleaner possibly, AGCO amplifies that on their national channels. So the content can be utilized in a corporate perspective as well to really help with that localization when it comes to content. Because I know that's something that we always struggle to get is, if you're in Canada and we're posting a lot of stuff from like the Southeast region, it doesn't necessarily show the crops that are in your area or the way that machines are used for your terrain. And so in order to get that content, we need help from dealerships to get us the right people and the right place to get this content shot. So with the co-branded reach, that's a free top of funnel marketing that shows your territory and your customers, like I said. It really also helps Massey with their content library. So showing a lot of different places that this machinery can be utilized and used. It's lead generation, not just brand. So customer testimonial clips are something that, depending on package, you can do too. If you have a really good customer story, we could do a photo shoot there, photo video shoot around that testimonial. A lot of times, if you can get an entire fleet changed from a different company or a different OEM to a Massey or a Fendt or something like that, that's a really good customer brand story that shows the relationship between you at your dealership and your customer, but also, amplifies the brand and shows off that brand too. And of course, AGCO will use that in all the different senses too to help promote that at a national level. And then case study assets that convert at the bottom of the funnel. So we can use all of that content to do lead generation, display ads, geofencing, a lot of different paid media as well to really create that lead generation. And what's in it for you? So hero photos, high-res images for web print and your showroom. So a lot of these images can be used for, in-store creatives. It can be used for updating your website because you want to update the content on your website as often as possible to make it, really fresh and new content. Print ads, any use of an image, I suppose. Social cuts in vertical and square images for social posts. So we'll give you the full size image, but can also cut it down to different social sizes for you so that you can use ready to go imagery. Short form videos. So, 15 seconds for reels, 30 seconds for ads, YouTube, 60 seconds. And that's where your customer testimonials and stuff like that would come in, or those longer videos. But we all know that different age groups have different attention spans. So we want to make sure we have clips of everything so that you can hit all of your different customers in all of the different platforms. We know that the shorts are now on YouTube as well. So you can utilize it both on YouTube, all of them on YouTube, as well as, paid ads and social media. And then customer content. So images and B-roll. Taking pictures in your dealership with actual customers in there, possibly purchasing parts or, closing a sale with a salesman. All of that is amazing content for your website and Google My Business profiles, local SEO, just really showing that individual customer or the relationship that you guys have with those customers creates that credibility. It's more realistic. It looks way better when it's your actual customers than when we, send somebody in to take a polished picture. You really want to do the local customers as much as possible.
And these are a couple of examples of just what Emily had just been talking about, where the different assets can be used for different purposes. So here we're showing a 16:9 shot where it could be used on web or on display in the showroom. A vertical that can be used for reels or different social purposes, and then YouTube and web for video. So this is just an example showing that while our crew is on site, we are always thinking about the maximum number of ways that each deliverable can be used by you and your team, so that not only are we maximizing our time on site that day, but we're keeping in mind the end goal for you, so that what we hand you at the end of that day that we spend with you is something that you can use across the board for as many resources as possible. Sorry, I can't get the click to work.
You're okay, I got it.
Okay. So we can get into a little bit about how this goes and the process that we would take to get from the beginning stages, just where, where you're interested, you're excited about this, like we are, all the way through to delivery. So we'd start with a kickoff call where our team meets with you. We find out what your goals are, what equipment you would want to be using, what the focus is, and then just the overall messaging that you're trying to get across. We want to make sure that we understand from the beginning what your goals are and what our purpose is when we spend the day with you. So from there, we'd get into the scheduling and some of the more the planning pieces of this. So if you have customers that you want to participate, whether we're spending part of a day on location at a customer property, or we are at the dealership the whole time, and you have a couple of customers that are lined up to come in and either just be interacting at the counter, buying parts, or they're giving a little testimonial clip about why they love spending time at your dealership, why they give you their business, and why they work with the brands that they work with. So by hearing those things from you and your team, we're able to map out a little bit better how we will be spending the day while we're there. And then we can come up with a little bit of a plan to make sure that what we are coming and what we are shooting is aligned with your goals and the messaging that you have for when we come shoot. And then once we're there, we can get into a little bit more of the details in a second about what the day will look like. But we'd spend the majority of a day with you, your team, whoever you're planning to have involved. And it's always a fun day. We enjoy it. We've heard that the people that spend time with us enjoy it. We, try to make it a fun and easy day for everyone. And it's always fun to be able to see the deliverables that come out at the end from a good day like that. But once we're done with the shoot, our team gets into the edit, and depending on the package that we go with and your needs, there's, a range of deliverables that will come out of that, both still photos and some video clips, B-roll clips, little 10 to 15 second that you can use for, like Emily said, just a variety of reasons. And then once we're done, the final library gets sent to you and then uploaded from there for all of the use cases.
And I want to preface this too, that this is a suggested schedule. We obviously can do quicker turnarounds if it's absolutely necessary. If there's like an event or something where that there's going to be a good application in process that we can shoot, or a tight window when it comes to like harvest or planting. It doesn't necessarily always go this way. This would be the cleanest way, and the way Maggie, I think, would prefer it most of the time on the producer side of things. But if it is something that can happen or needs to happen in a shorter amount of time, we can look at a schedule that would work for everybody. So we would obviously have to kind of vet that out when it came to different dealerships, how far away we are, if our team has the availability. So we'd work together on the schedule to really make sure that that schedule aligns with what, we're trying to shoot first off. And then also, the application of the equipment. So we wouldn't want to put a planter out there in, November or something and try to shoot that. We want it to be real applicable of the time of year, and then the area in which we're doing it. So Maggie, I think a couple of weeks ago you did one of these in like 3 days. It probably was like a really well qualified customer that like was just like ready to go. But yeah, obviously we want to give them more time, right?
Right. And we are happy to make whatever we can make work for you. The instance Emily's referencing wound up to just be a great opportunity came up. They were local in the area, and we had the availability to send a 2-person crew over there for 2 or 3 hours to get what they needed. And it didn't necessarily fit in any of the slots that we're talking about when we're referring to different packages. But it's a great example, Emily. Like we've been saying, we want this to be tailored to you. So don't look at this schedule and think, oh, I don't have this 8 weeks planned out in advance, or maybe I don't know when I want this to happen. It could be more than 8 weeks away. It's always best to just start the conversation. We want to hear from you as early as possible with what your goals are, and the more time that we have to plan, the better that these turn out. Of course, the more pre-production that we can do, the quicker and the easier and the more successful that post-production piece of it happens to be.
For sure. And we'll get into the library and uploading to the AGCO Direct Dealer portal in a little bit here as well, and how that plays a part in this too. Oh, now we got
Okay. So for a typical shoot day, like I said, we would spend the majority of the day with you. We'll come hang out for 8 hours or so and shoot whatever you have available for us that day. We'll work with you ahead of time to make sure that your plan and your goals kind of align with a reasonable schedule. I know it takes a little bit more time than we sometimes think to move from location to location, but it's always something that we'll take into consideration if you wanted to start at the dealership for part of the day and then move to a nearby customer location and spend some time with them. Like I said, bring it up early. We can help you plan for it. And we genuinely want to make the most of the day with you. So we're there, we're dedicated to a day, whether it's at the customer location or at your dealership. And then we would have crew on site depending on your needs. That it just kind of varies. If it's one person, two people, it'll be photo and video for the package. And then drone is always it's a bonus, and we always want to be able to do it, but it's just one of those things where we talk about it early on and just make sure that the area you're in is able to have a drone flying in it versus, you're next to an airport. We just don't want to promise that the drone can go up if it maybe can't, just dependent on where you're at. As far as who brings what, we bring the crew, like Emily said, and we will be there to do photo and video, like I said, drone if available, and then we do the editing so that when this is all said and done, you have a tidy little package of all of the photo and video assets that were discussed and agreed upon before the shoot even began. As far as what you bring, if you're looking at having a customer there, just someone who is available, ready to make the most of the day with us, and is okay with, making sure that they are good with being shown on camera, being used for different photo video assets, making sure that we have access to the equipment that you want featured. And it's always helpful and great to have a dealership rep on site for the day just to help things keep moving smoothly, just in case anything happens with the equipment. And, we always love to capture, if we're with a customer, the customer and dealer relationship, just because this better than anyone else, but that can be a really special relationship, and it really sells what you do. And that tends to really come through in these shoots, both in photo and video.
All right, so AGCO is specifically looking for some content, but we'll obviously always take any content. But in this instance, they've on content priorities across different brands that they have, different products, different applications of those products. So Massey high horsepower tractors is a big product category that they're looking to capture. So if you have a farm in an area or land in an area and have the equipment ready to go, they would love to get all different applications with the Massey Ferguson high horsepower tractor, the Massey Ferguson sprayer, and the planter. So if you have one customer that maybe would allow us to shoot some of these, all of these are kind of spring ish. Other than the high horsepower tractors, like we would love to get all of the products in one shoot if we could, but are definitely open and willing to do multiple shoots. The Fendt Ideal, and then Fendt high horsepower tractors too. So it is all pretty heavy line that they're looking to specifically get, but compacts are always perfect as well. We know it's a lot easier to get customers on site, or to go to customer sites when it is that like rural lifestyle type imagery, maybe a little slower. Whereas these ones are really, high production, larger farms, ones that are going to be running probably multiple pieces of the same brand. So these ones are probably pretty specialized, but they are definitely in need for AGCO. So they would love to have different dealerships across the country be able to show off these pieces of equipment in those applications. And they're willing to put their York Walk dollars where their mouth is. So if your content Safari falls into one of the product categories above, you do and may qualify for a higher co-op split. Usually the co-op split for these, and I actually don't even, I did kind of comment on the other side, but everything we do at AGCO Direct is a 60-40 co-op split, 60% AGCO, 40% dealer. But if you are doing one of these, it'll be an 80-20 co-op split. So it is much more valuable to you and them to get these products and to really lock in some of these products for content safaris, that they're willing to allow you a larger co-op split for the different packages. So if you are interested, let us know, or have a customer that you can suggest. We would love to chat with you about it. And then these are the packages that we have. So this is your commitment and investment to getting content for your AGCO products. We have a mini package that is 1 day of shooting. So the full day shooting with one crew member. That crew member is a pro at both video and photo. So they'll be able to really capture all of that content when they're there. And then the range of videos and photos differs depending on how many, weather, how many good photos and videos we can get. And so about 5 to 10 video selects, and then 20 to 50 photo selects. So you'll see a range depending on, again, all those circumstances. And then that one starts at $3,000 before that co-op split. The basic package is a day of shooting with up to 2 locations, a 2-person crew, the video and photo, drone if available. Like Maggie said, there are certain areas that you cannot take or put out a drone or put up a drone. Like she said, specifically next to airports is very frowned upon. So we will not be shooting drone or anywhere near an airport. So there's also other places that we can't, I believe, possibly Canada. We can't fly drones. Maggie, do you remember?
Yeah, it all just depends on the different areas, and it's something that we would consider right away. Like with the first kickoff call, it's something that we would be able to help you determine.
And then up to 20 selects on this one for videos, and up to 75 photos. So it's a much more robust package. You get 2 people, usually one person doing one or the other, or 2 people shooting photo at the same time. But this also helps with, the timing of things, because the person can be shooting the video at the same time that somebody's shooting a photo. So we don't have to put the camera down and then pick up a video camera and take videos. We can have 2 people shooting at the same time. This one is $8,000 before co-op split, and all of this is in US dollars, by the way. If there are Canadians on the call, I apologize. We can convert that for you and let you know what it would be in Canadian as well. But this one's starting at $88,000 before co-op split. And then the pro package. So this is 2 days of shooting in up to 3 different locations, a 2-person crew, again, doing the video and photo, drone if available, and then up to 40 video selects plus B-roll. So you'll have a lot of good video content to utilize for a bunch of different reasons. And then up to 150 photo selects as well. That one is starting at $15,000 before co-op split. All of these include the travel for the photographers and the videographers. So you don't have to worry about any of that. We bring all of this stuff with us, and then just, again, need your coordination when it comes to the area and the equipment. So if you are ready, let's book your safari. So the first thing would be just to confirm your interest. Tell your AGCO Direct customer success manager that you're in. Give us a call. Contact us at ads@agcodirect.com. Verbal communication is enough to hold your slot, so we don't need a contract signed. We can get you on the schedule and start talking about when it might work for your dealership and for you. Then you pick your customer host. So Maggie will create a 1-page brief to share with your candidate or customer to let them know kind of what to expect, what we are expecting of them. And then approval usually takes about a week. And then lock in the shoot date. So choose from the 2026 production calendar, the best dates fill first. The nicest weather always feels first. So the earlier you get in there, the better, so that we can put you on the calendar and make sure we have a photographer, videographer, both on the schedule, and that we can do the shoots in the times that you ask. So if you are interested, email ads@acodirect.com, call your customer success manager and chat with them, and they will get Maggie on the phone and talk through it with Maggie to make sure that her team is ready to go. And Maggie, for that one-page brief, do you know about what that will entail, or how we give the customer, the information that they would need to make that decision?
Yeah, I think just from that first kickoff call that we have, we can gather a lot of info from you on what your focus and goals are with this specific equipment. And even that information alone, when we are able to share that with the customer, then they have a better understanding of why you chose and suggested them. And we can kind of work together on that brief just to make sure that what we are giving them as far as information for what they should prep for the day is accurate, compared to what you were thinking. We just want them to be as prepared as possible if someone other than just you and your team is involved in the shoot. It just makes the day go a lot smoother if we get there and they already know what to expect. They've cleared their day and they're ready to just kind of fully dive in with us and spend the day with us. So it's more of just a kind of a heads up and here's what we're thinking, here's what we would need from you and why you were chosen. So if they need to prep any part of their land or any part of their property, kind of get that cleaned up or ready for the day, they have a chance to do that so that they can really feel good about having us there. And it just gets everyone a chance to get on the same page and get excited.
Awesome. Something I forgot to bring up too about the co-op. We are also offering a 60-40 co-op split for any assets that are shot that are willing to be shared. So AGCO is, that are not willing to be shared. So I know a lot of dealers are hesitant about doing a content safari because they don't want their customers, their equipment, and their dealership used in different dealerships advertising, or even corporate advertising. They want to keep all their stuff really local. So those are approved for a 60-40 co-op split if you're willing to share, or not willing to share. If you are willing to share, they will do an 80-20 co-op split on that as well. And that's just so that they can utilize the content from a corporate perspective and other dealers can as well. So what we would usually do there then is once we would take it to put it on the portal, we would actually scrub the dealer's information off of it. So we would take off, name tag, well, not even name tag on, but we would take off like the logo, your dealership's logo, so that other dealers can use it. So that's why they're willing to do a higher co-op split for being able to use the content as well. So we kind of split it into two different sections so that we know we have interest from dealers that just don't want to share their content. So I just wanted to plug that part in there as well. So that is the end of the webinar. However, I did want to talk about our AGCO Direct Dealer Marketing Summit as well. We're in Fargo. Our main, Maggie's remote, just a little bit away, but our main office is in Fargo. Our whole AGCO Direct Dealer team is here in Fargo. And we host a dealer marketing summit every year. And this year, again, we're doing it in Fargo here for a 2-day festival-inspired experience where dealer marketing takes center stage. So your all access pass, or your registration, includes headlining sessions packed with real-world insights, hands-on workshops so you can put it into play right away, opportunities to connect and collaborate with your fellow marketers who are in the same place as you, some of which have differing knowledge of marketing, dedicated time with your AGCO Direct client success managers. So we usually do a dinner with our dealers, and each one of your client success managers would take out their dealers to go have a good meal in Fargo here, and also can sit and go through marketing with you at any time during the summit. So every one of us will be there, and they can sit down and walk through a dashboard or walk through your local SEO, and just really sit down, have that, separate time to make sure that all of your needs are being met from a marketing standpoint. You can hear from Massey Ferguson and Fendt brand teams on Balance the Year 2026 initiatives and 2027 direction, including updates to the co-op program. So there is likely going to be changes to the co-op program next year, and this will be your first set of information that they will be sharing. Will be at the Marketing Summit. And registration is $250 per attendee, and we will be billed to your dealership's next co-op statement at a 0% co-op split. So the registration is not co-op eligible. However, this year we're going to give a $500 travel stipend upon arrival to offset your travel expenses. So once you get here, you will get that travel stipend to, thank you for coming, and we value your information that you can share with us about your marketing expertise and really just working together as a team to make the ACO Direct dealer program better, and teach us, what you guys really need. So QR code on the screen, you can scan that to register. You probably have seen emails also coming into your inbox where you can register. And then, like I said, those $250 registration after you register will be billed directly to your co-op, or the same way that we bill all the time. So July 14th and 15th is that date in Fargo. We have a brand new airport that's just been remodeled. It's very beautiful in there. It looks totally different. So if you were here last year and you flew, it's really pretty in there. So come to Fargo. So questions, I believe, is our last portion here. And this question was answered. So is this something that co-op would help with? So yes, that 60-40 co-op split if you are not willing to share, and then 80-20 co-op split if you are willing to share those assets with AGCO corporate and other dealers, which is a huge chunk out of that co-op. So really excited that they allowed us to have that additional co-op split on there. And there were a couple more. What is included in the final content libraries dealers receive? That would be those selects, those video clips, different sized images if you're requesting specific size images. And then what are some benefits dealers receive from the final content library? So I think we kind of went over that. You can use it for all sorts of marketing across any platform that you want. We see most of the content safaris that we utilize, or we see it a lot in our marketing. It's just really, again, that hyper local content that shows, loyalty and customers and real people, and not, some polished actor that's out there just taking photos next to a clean tractor. Like most of the times you want to see your equipment in use because that's how you're going to have it. And these are the great ways to do that. Maggie, do you want to go over a little bit about the first or the day of and what it looks like from a dealer perspective? So we already have the customer, right? The customer knows we're coming, and it's like 8 a.m. day of. What does a day in the life of you and the dealer look like?
Sure. And I think, like we've been saying, this all depends on what your goals are. So if there is any amount of time that needs to be spent at the dealership versus just at the customer location, we take that into consideration. But, depending on whichever or where or both we need to be, our crew would arrive at the time that we agree on. It would be early so that you can make the most of the day. And then, we kind of give everyone an overview of what we're expecting to accomplish that day. We kind of outline the different areas of the property where we will be shooting and prioritize those based on, I leave this to the experts on the crew, but the light and the different looks that they're going for, and make sure that aligns with, whether we're at a customer property or at the dealership. We want to be as minimally invasive as possible if we're there during business hours. So we make sure that we are out of the way if you have something going on, like at the parts counter. We make sure that, we're maybe there at noon when it's less busy and that we have the specific customer that you're working with. So we just go through the list of priorities that we put together with you before we even arrive, and we just check things off one at a time. And when we get to the end of the day, we've accomplished it all. And if we have any time left over, we always work throughout the day to keep you updated on how we're feeling with where the schedule is at, so that we can continue to prioritize, and so that we're all on the same page if something isn't going to be able to be accomplished at the end of the day, or, hey, it looks like we're maybe going to have an extra half hour, 45 minutes. Let's head over to that area and make sure that we capture a little bit of the equipment doing X, Y, or Z while the light is nice over there. So it really depends on the time of year, on who the customer is, where we're spending our time, but it's all mapped out ahead of time, and everyone has a pretty good idea of what we're doing that day. We know what we're doing that day, but as far as communication between our team and yours, we just spend the first part of that day making sure everyone feels comfortable, and then we get after it.
Awesome. And the dealer contact, so whether it's, a salesman or your marketing person, if you have a dedicated marketing person, that person, we would love for them to be around as often as possible, but we know sometimes you wear 80 hats or you have sales that you have to do. So if it is a pop in, pop out situation, that's okay too. As long as, the connection is made with that customer and that customer feels comfortable with us being there without you. So that definitely plays into that as well. One more question was, does the Content Safari include a testimonial video, or would we incorporate that into a package? So Maggie, you kind of explain this to me even more. I'm not a specialist when it comes to videography or photography or anything. So the testimonial videos, it is a lot more work than just a normal like B-roll video for both the customer and the videographer. So that is usually an additional cost or a higher package that would include that testimonial, correct?
Correct. And I sound like a broken record, but it all just comes down to that first kickoff call. If a customer testimonial is something that is a big goal of yours, you think there's a lot of value in it, and there is a lot of value in a customer testimonial, and whether that's, how extensive that testimonial is always up for discussion as well. Whether it's, we're going to have this customer come in because he or she is one of our best. We want them to just sit at the parts counter. We'll mic them up, and we want a 1 minute, just quick, organic testimonial, versus this is a great customer that we have. He or she has purchased a number of pieces of equipment from us over the year. They're loyal. They are happy to talk about why they love working with us, and they've got this cool operation. So we want to do a day at the dealership, but then we want to spend an entire day dedicated to this customer, their story, and why they like working with us and these brands. And for our team and your team, just to get the most out of that, there is more pre-production work that goes into that, some more creative direction. There would be a more specific shot list built out. We'd come up with a more extensive list of interview questions that we would work with you on to make sure that we're really telling the story that you want told, and that the customer knows what we'll be asking, and they're prepared and comfortable talking about what we're coming there to discuss with them. And as always, with a longer video testimonial like that, we need to work in more opportunities for B-roll to tell that more complete story. So there's a little bit more prep and planning on both ends that goes into that, as far as where we're spending our day, the different tasks that we're doing with the equipment to showcase what it can do and why it's so important to them. There's more planning that goes into it, but the outcome is always, I think, it's really valuable.
Agreed. So it depends on what you're looking for. The pricing always depends on what you're looking for. So have that conversation with your AGCO Direct CSM. Email us at ads@agcodirect.com, and I will get you to your correct CSM if you do not know who they are. give us a call. Or, just ask those questions and we can get this set up, and then you can talk to Maggie, and Maggie will help figure out what package it would fall into. She's very friendly and very open to these conversations. So Maggie, I want to thank you very much for joining me today. And let's get some content safaris going.
Thank you. I can't wait to hear from you all.
And we'll be back next month with another webinar. So look out for that coming in a couple of weeks with what the topic's going to be. And who's going to be presenting. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in a month.
Thank you.